こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、リバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。リバプールはカラバオカップでニューカッスルユナイテッドと決勝戦を戦う予定です。オールレッドテレビチャンネルでは、この決勝戦のスターティングイレブンを予想していますが、明らかに疲れが見えるグラフェンバークに代わって遠藤航を起用したいと話しています。これまでのスロットの傾向から見ても、遠藤航が先発する可能性はかなり低いと思いますが、実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
Hello all and welcome to the Carabao Cup final preview show. It is all red and it's all Aaron Cowell in London. Aaron, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, it's as Wayne Rooney would say, yeah, it's great. Yeah, great to be here, Sam. Swear down, it's really good.
Yeah, of course. Aaron, we're going to do something a little bit different here because this is a final. This is a big deal. And so I'm actually going to start today. We're going to look at Newcastle's starting 11. Then we're going to predict what we think Liverpool's starting 11 will be. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to do our score predictions. And I expect this to be maybe a little bit of a heated debate after what happened yesterday against PSG. So without further ado, let's look at what I think is going to be the starting 11 for Newcastle United. We'll run through this really quickly. I think it's going to be a back five of Nick Pope, Dan Burn, Schär, Trippier, and Livramento. This is basically going to be the team that Eddie Howe put out against West Ham. And they won that game, of course, 1-0. And, of course, we know that Isak is fit. He played in that game. He played about 80 minutes, and there was no injury. And he's fit. He's going to play this weekend. So that is a big worry, I think, for this back line. He is a guy that can score out of nothing. Obviously, they don't have Anthony Gordon, and they are missing the guy that has really shut down Mohamed Salah as their left back. But he is not going to be in there. He is out for the year. It is going to be Livramento. He is a pacey left back. He's got speed. I just wonder if maybe the inexperience could play against him, against someone as wise and shifty as Mohamed Salah. So that's the starting 11 there. Aaron, any thoughts on that for Newcastle United?
Yeah, I don't think there's much more they can do than that, Sam, to be fair. I think that's as strong as they can go. I mean, that left side is where we've got to be attacking because there's no natural left wingers there. There's no natural left-sided midfielders there. And Livramento's on the wrong side. I'd like to think whoever plays on that side, should, if they can get into the game, do something in this game. That could be a dangerous side for us in terms of, being able to create.
Yeah. Well, let's shift to the Liverpool starting 11. Let's get into it. I think it's going to be Alisson Becker at the back. He has played, honestly, the last two matches against PSG. Alisson was at his absolute best. He basically kept us in that tie with, I think, 16 saves over 2 legs, which is just insane. Crazy. And so I think it's Alisson at the back. I do think we are going to see Van Dijk and Konate. I think Konate is okay. I think it was just fatigue.
No, I think it was cramp.
Yeah,
he come out at the end of the game. If you seen him walking around at the end of the game, he looked absolutely fine.
Yeah,
but so listen, Konate playing that many minutes, Sam. Konate playing that many minutes is not good for him. With his injury records. But he looked okay. He looked fine.
Yeah, he looked fine. We will be without Trent. I don't think he's going to be fit. I could be wrong. Honestly, I could see him coming back. I really could. I could see that just being a really bad ankle turn, and maybe it just was a little swollen, and maybe in a couple days he's all right. But I'm going to put my money on Kwanzaa starting. Aaron, you were just telling me that you thought Kwanzaa, once he came on in that game against PSG, you thought he was Liverpool's best player.
Yes. I just thought he did everything right when he come on. He didn't really get beat too much. I know PSG were quite fatigued at the time as well. Because it was a long game and both teams had gone at it for 2 games. They'd really gone at it for 2 games. I actually thought Kwanzaa was probably our most dangerous attacker from 3 set pieces. he did really well, getting some crosses in down the right. I actually thought he did all right. He looked pacey. He looked hard to beat. I thought he did all right, mate. I thought on the right-hand side, as a backup for Trent, in that game, particularly against dangerous wingers, I thought he did well.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he did really good as well. And I don't have a whole lot of concerns with him starting there, especially since we won't be seeing Anthony Gordon. So I think Robertson on the left, I just don't see Slot trusting Tsimikas in a cup final. And, you know, for Robertson, he just turned 21 or 31, not 21, 31. And clearly, you know, he is slowing down a little bit, but he's been playing okay. The mistakes we saw at the beginning of the season are not there quite as much. So I, you know, give it to Robbo. See what he can do.
I think he's done all right, Robertson. I don't think he's done too much wrong. I think his pace isn't what it used to be, but I still think he gets up and down well. And listen, he's a decent left back now, as where before you're probably talking about him in the top 3 left backs in world football. He just isn't that anymore. He's just gone down into them good footballers now, that kind of good left back, you know, that kind of level. So fair play, he's doing well.
Yep. All right, this is where it might get a little chippy, Aaron, because I'm going to throw out what I would select in my midfield, and I'm going to let you react to it. So I'm going to go Endo. I'm going to go Endo in as kind of our number 6 destroyer in the middle of the park. I'm pairing him with McAllister, and then I'm going to go Harvey Elliott in this kind of number 10 role. What is your instant reaction to that, Aaron?
I would be okay with that.
Okay.
Oh, like maybe. Listen, McAllister's putting so much work in at the moment. You know, I'd be okay if that was McAllister or Gravenberch. Okay. But Elliott, yes. Szoboszlai is lacking a final touch at the moment. He's gone from, you know, then back-to-back goals and assists and things like that, looking really, really good, to looking really fatigued. Yeah. And listen, he's put a lot of work in, and I can understand he needs a rest. Yeah. You know, maybe he didn't want to rest on a final, but you know,
that's why I didn't put Gravenberch in there, because Gravenberch played so many minutes at Anfield against PSG, and I just feel like he wasn't even that good. I was kind of surprised that Slot kept him in and took McAllister out. But that could have been a sign. You know, I don't think Slot was looking ahead, but getting McAllister out at the end of regulation, maybe saving some of those legs for the final. I feel like Endo would be a really good engine and kind of that destroyer against what I think is going to be a really tough midfield of Newcastle. And of course, Isak. Someone in there to really just break things up, read the passes, intercept, and have the ability, you know, Endo, maybe not quite as good of a passer as Gravenberch, but certainly has the ability to intercept the ball and get it to the right people.
He knows his limitations, Sam. Endo. You know, what I see with Endo is 100% commitment every time. But he sits nicely in front of Van Dijk and Konate, and the stat about him when he's been on the pitch, only conceding 1 goal it's ridiculous. That shows you what he does. That shows you what he brings to a team, and it shows you when you want to finish a game, Endo's the man. And you know, he could complement Konate and Van Dijk beautifully in this game and just shut up shop in the middle of the pitch.
Yep. I think there's a case for Elliott because, again, I'm not going to knock Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. I think for the majority of this season, they've been really good, especially Gravenberch.
Agreed.
But it's just the fatigue. It's the amount of minutes. It's the amount of games. And Harvey Elliott, I think in this game, it gives us the ability to breathe a little bit. It gives us that outlet pass. And Harvey Elliott typically is not a Salah type player where he's going to give the ball away quite a bit. Salah's been doing that a lot lately. He's not quite the Szoboszlai character who's going to be just running his engine down to the ground all the way to empty. And maybe there's just a little sporadic nature there with Szoboszlai. There's some wildness where Elliott is going to be, he's not going to be that box to box, get up and down the entire field for 90 minutes, but it's going to be controlled. It's going to be a little bit more calm. It's going to be a little bit more collected. And obviously we know that Harvey can finish. He can finish and he can distribute. And I think in this match, if we started this way, if our back six was like this with Endo, McAllister, Kwanzaa, we might not have the type of distribution that we're used to. But if we have an outlet guy, right, a Harvey Elliott who's checking back and then is the conduit to that front three, I think there could be some magic there. So let's get to that front three. I'm going to go Gakpo, Salah, and then I'm going to go Darwin here. Aaron, what do you think? Darwin at Wembley? What do you think?
Listen, I'm not too sure there's much of an alternative here because I thought our attacking line as a whole was anonymous against PSG. Salah started the game on fire, 10 or 15 minutes, and I was thinking, oh my God, it's going to be how many tonight? And then we just disappeared in the game. They had a few chances, PSG, and they just took over the game. And I thought our midfield, unfortunately, just disappeared and looked very leggy. And we were just open in the middle of the park, and they just cut through us time and time and time again. And put the back line. The back line, I thought, actually did amazing. I know the goal was a bit, unfortunate. Konate slid in on that challenge, maybe with the wrong foot. Should have gone with the left foot, maybe. Yeah. But actually, I thought the back line did really well. Yeah. Didn't really give them any really clear-cut chances. There was a couple of decent chances for PSG, but nothing really clear-cut. Yep. There's not much more you can do than that, Sam. The front line they're struggling at the moment for clear-cut chances as well. Yeah. And some poor finishing is not helping us at all.
Yep. So that's why I feel like there's just a little bit of, freshness here that's needed. I think Gakpo could be that. I think Elliott could be that in our attack. And then, hey, we've always got substitutions. We can bring Sobo in. We can bring Gravenberch in. We can bring Diaz in. Diaz is another one where he's just played so many minutes lately. And he runs the entire game. He's in there. Full credit to him. But I'd like to see maybe just a little bit more control. We've been so poor in possession. Terrible. I want to see guys like Gakpo in there who typically are a little bit better at control, and Harvey Elliott, who might just be a little bit more controlled in possession, and see what we can do. I think, Aaron, I'm going to go into a score prediction now, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are. But I think Liverpool can actually keep a clean sheet in this one at Wembley. Their actually track record for keeping clean sheets in these finals is pretty good. But unlike last year, I think we get 2 in regulation. I'm going for a 2-0 victory for Liverpool at Wembley. What do you think, Aaron, from the bottom of your heart?
Well, firstly, an observation I made the other day. Gakpo pulled out of every single challenge in that second half against PSG when he come on. He pulled out of everything. So maybe he's not quite back up to speed. But I think with 5 days of intense training and getting back up to speed, he's essential because what he offers on that left-hand side is really good. I'd love Darwin to score the winner. I don't care. If it's 1-0, Endo to just shut up shop at the back, just have the performance of his lifetime. And whether he stays or not, Endo, I don't know, because ultimately he's at an age where maybe he'll want regular football because he's at the tail end of his career. But I hope for Darwin and Endo, I hope they walk out with a really good season and some trophies in the cabinet. Yeah. So I'm going to go for 1-0. Yeah, and a really tight game. Yeah, and one of them ones that could swing either way. It's not going to be a good watch. Yeah, but we'll be fatigued. But I think we can edge it. But he has to make changes because we look tired.
I agree, and I do think it's going to be a tight game no matter what. A cup final like this at a neutral ground like Wembley, it's just going to be tough. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Newcastle are strong. They're a good team, and apart from Anthony Gordon. And Lewis Hall, I think they're a very good team, and I think they're going to get up for it. I think they're going to come out really strong, and I think we need to look at how do we start this game? Do we come out flat and we let Newcastle kind of run us into the ground for the first 30 minutes? I hope not. And that's where I think some of these changes can really help. Just get the mentality, get a little spark in this team so that we can come out strong, take the front edge, and just ride it, man. So love to know what you think. Get your comments in below. Oh, man, let's get number 70, guys. This would be number 70 for Liverpool, our 70th big trophy and our 11th League Cup. We are massive.
次は解説です。今回はそれほど難しいボキャブラリーはほとんどなかったですが、簡単なボキャブラリーや表現でも知っていると便利だったり、うまく使えると会話の表現が増えるようなものが多かったので、そういう表現を多く解説しています。それでは早速解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。But I'm going to put my money on Kwanzaa starting.
Put one's money on は単にお金をかける意味だけではなく、何かが成功すると確信している。誰かが勝つと信じているというニュアンスで使われます。特にスポーツの試合や競争、ビジネス、試験などでの成功を予想するときによく使われます。例えば、友達と試合の結果を予想するとき、仕事や人間関係でも、ある人や計画への強い信頼を示すときにも使えます。実際にお金をかけるわけではなく、強く信じているという比喩表現として覚えておくと便利です。
But I'm going to put my money on Kwanzaa starting. I'm going to put my money on Kwanzaa starting. All right, this is where it might get a little chippy, Aaron.
チッピーは、主に口論や試合がヒートアップする。ピリピリした雰囲気になるという意味で使われます。例えば、スポーツの試合でラフプレーが増えたり、選手同士の小競り合いが増えたりすると、試合が荒れてきたという意味で使われます。また、ディベートや議論の場で意見がぶつかり合い、緊張感が増す場面でも、ちょっとヒートアップしてきたと言いたい場合に使われます。イギリス英語では、短気なという意味や、フィッシュ&チップスのお店という意味でも使われるので、会話の文脈をよく理解して使い分けましょ
う。Alright, this is where it might get a little chippy, Aaron. Alright, this is where it might get a little chippy, Aaron, who's going to be just running his engine down to the ground.
Down to the ground は、完全に、徹底的に、ぴったり合うという意味で使われ、例えば、彼は仕事で完全に疲れ果てたという時などに使われます。また、イギリス英語では、ぴったり合うや、最適であるという意味でも使われます。フォーマルな表現ではありませんが、日常会話でよく使われるため、ネイティブの話し方を学びたい人にはおすすめのフレーズです。
Who's going to be just running his engine down to the ground. Who's going to be just running his engine down to the ground. And maybe there's just a little sporadic nature there with Szoboszlai.
スポラディックは時々発生する、不規則な、散発的なという意味の形容詞です。例えば、時々降る雨をスポラディックレインのように表現し、何かが頻繁に起こるわけではないけれど、完全にゼロではない時に使います。ニュースやビジネス英語、アカデミックな文章でよく使われる単語です。
And maybe there's just a little sporadic nature there with Szoboszlai. And maybe there's just a little sporadic nature there with Szoboszlai. It's going to be a little bit more collected.
Collected は冷静な、落ち着いた、整理されたという意味で使われます。コレクトは集めるという意味ですが、心や考えがバラバラではなく、集められている、イコール、きちんと整理されているというニュアンスから、冷静な、落ち着いたという意味でも使われます。例えば、緊張する場面やプレッシャーの中でも、冷静でいることを表すとき、考えがまとまっている状態などを表現できます。トイックの試験などでも、ビジネスの場面やリーダーシップを表す文脈で登場することがあるでしょ
う。It's going to be a little bit more collected. It's going to be a little bit more collected. And then is the conduit to that front three.
コンデットは、導管、仲介役、媒介という意味で使われます。もともとは、水や電気を通すパイプのことを指しますが、情報、影響、意思疎通をつなぐ、橋渡し役という比喩的な意味でもよく使われます。例えば、スポーツの試合では、ミッドフィルダーが前線にボールをつなぐ仲介役になっていると表現することができ、ビジネスの場面では、この会社は投資家とスタートアップ企業をつなぐ仲介役だというように使われることが多いです。ニュース記事、ビジネス英語でよく使われるフォーマルな単語です。
And then is the conduit to that front three. and then is the conduit to that front three.
Didn't really give them any really clear-cut chances.
クリアカットは、明確な、はっきりした、疑いのないという意味を持つ形容詞です。例えば、この証拠は詐欺の明白な証拠だというような場合、スポーツの試合では、決定的なチャンスという意味でも使われます。トイックやビジネス英語にもよく出る単語です。
Didn't really give them any really clear-cut chances. Didn't really give them any really clear-cut chances.
But unlike last year,
Yeah.
I think we get two in regulation.
インレギュレーションは、規定の試合時間内に、公式ルールに従ってという意味を持つ表現です。スポーツでは、試合時間内で勝つ、得点することを指し、延長戦なしで勝ったというような時に使われます。法律やビジネスの文脈では、規則に従って、正式にという意味で使われます。スポーツ英語やビジネス英語の両方でよく使われる表現なので、覚えておくと便利です。
But unlike last year,
Yeah.
I think we get two in regulation. But unlike last year,
Yeah.
I think we get two in regulation.
Gakpo pulled out of every single challenge.
プルアウトオブは、何かから撤退する、辞退する、何かから抜けるという意味の駆動詞です。プルというイメージから何かを引っ張る意味になりそうですが、自分自身が身を引く、つまり、撤退したり、辞退したり、何かを避ける場合にも使われ、例えば、会社が契約を撤回する場合や、スポーツでは、試合を棄権するや、競り合いを避けるという意味で使われます。スポーツ、ビジネス、日常会話の幅広いシーンで使われる重要な表現です。
Gakpo pulled out of every single challenge. Gakpo pulled out of every single challenge. You know, we'll be fatigued, but I think we can edge it.
エッジには、名詞として使う場合は、和詞や縁、僅差のリードなどを意味します。動詞として使う場合は、わずかに勝つや、少しずつ進むという意味になり、僅差で勝ったというような時に使われます。スポーツ、ビジネス、日常会話の幅広いシーンで使われる単語なので、しっかり覚えておきましょ
う。You know, we'll be fatigued, but I think we can edge it. You know, we'll be fatigued, but I think we can edge it.
It's not going to be a walk in the park.
ウォークインザパークは、とても簡単なこと。楽勝という意味のイディオムです。例えば、このテストは楽勝だったというような場合に使われます。ただし、日常会話では否定形で使われることが多く、その場合は、簡単ではない。大変だというニュアンスで使われます。例えば、スポーツの試合についてこの試合は楽な戦いにはならないということで、厳しい試合になることを強調する表現になります。ネイティブの会話や映画でよく登場するフレーズなので、よく耳にする表現でしょ
う。It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
いかがでしたか？遠藤航を先発予想するリバプールファンは多いわけではないですし、皆さんもあまり期待はしていないのではないでしょうか。チャンピオンズリーグで死闘を繰り広げ、サウサンプトン戦でも大きなローテーションを行わなかったことからも、疲労から来るパフォーマンスの低下も明らかに目に見え、ほとんどのファンも指摘しており、特にグラフェンバークがその筆頭であるということからも、遠藤航の先発の可能性も低くはないとも思いますが、個人的にはあまり期待できないと思っています。コナテは足がつっただけだったようですが、アーノルドは怪我で出場できないようですので、クワンサを右サイドバックで出す必要があれば、ベンチにいるディフェンダーは遠藤航くらいしかいなくなる状況であり、中盤で先発させるよりも、遠藤をバックアップに置いておく方が、理にかなってもいそうです。それでも、遠藤航の出番は必ずと言っていいほどやってきそうですので、中盤で出るのか、ディフェンスラインで出るのか、アクシデントなども含めて、右サイドバックで出ることもありえなくもない状況で、いつどこで出てくるのかも楽しみにしながら、トロフィーを獲得する遠藤航を期待したいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。